The role of the CFO in driving sustainability, exploring ESG, environmental, social, and governance as a strategic imperative for finance leaders. And to discuss on this topic, I request Dr. Kishore Nuthalapati, Chief Financial Officer, BEKEM Infra Projects Private Limited, to please come upon the stage. Please give him a very big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Kishore is an economist and a corporate finance professional with 25 years of experience in finance, banking, credit, project management, HR and legal. He holds PhD in finance, ACS company secretary and PG degrees in commerce, management and law with university level ranks. Once again, a very big round of applause for Dr. Kishore here on the stage, everyone.
Good afternoon, friends. Same set of 50, 100 colleagues, regardless of topics, regardless of agencies, regardless of days, regardless of sponsors. We are permanent. And this is our hangout time, hangout platform, wherever it is. Venues differing, sponsors differing, agencies differing, topics differing, but we are the same standard. ESG is not for CFO, was the past. ESG is mostly for the CFO, is the present. I'm sure all of you must be experiencing this. Every investor, equity investor, every lender, every joint venture partner, every policy maker is inquiring, how much of ESG are you? Me, I am not, your organization. So this has become the buzzword. Wherever we go, people are inquiring, can you list out the ESG works you are doing? Sir, we are so-and-so infra, engineering, manufacturing. That's okay. You first tell me the priority is what are the ESG projects you are doing. This is because, as we all know, the NDCs India has underwritten in COP 15 and now in 29 we have to see if we may have to revise our NDC targets. So that all of you know, and a brief discussion on this ESG for our benefit. How big is this ESG concept? About 30 trillion. We're talking about 10 times, almost 10 times or 9 times India's size, or 8.5 times roughly. This is the investment going into equity form in ESG projects. ESG, climate compliant, SDG projects, we can use them interchangeably because there is overlap between SDG, ESG and climate compliance projects, CCP. What's the debt now which is outstanding after all the repayment on a net basis? Almost 4 trillion. What's the debt that is getting added? Actually, there is no estimate of what is getting added, but some estimates put that at more than 5 trillion per annum versus 100 trillion, 110 trillion required, but this is the volume what is getting added on a yearly basis to this ESG projects. And what's government doing? If this, it is so important, what's government doing? Government is also issuing ESG bonds, compliant bonds, in the name of sovereign green bonds, in the name of climate bonds, in the name of cat bonds, in multiple names. And all of them serving one purpose, that mobilizing green funds, the climate finance for the ESG compliant projects. As it stands now and going forward, most of the PPP projects, that most could be substantial, or going forward it could be 100%, cent percent, will be certainly ESG compliant. Environmental, social, governance. Environmental is understandable, it's climate related, climate finance, climate friendly, and we have to avoid the carbon footprint, fossil fuel usage has to be reduced, all of these things. Social is not so easily be quantifiable. It can't be so easily quantified because it lies in the practices, the usage of material, the usage of labor, and the way we treat, the way you remunerate the employees, and the way you spend for the social causes, all of these things. And the governance, the last factor, is even more challenging to quantify. It's like your bike set at 60, and regardless of that set at 60 speed, the meter, speedometer, you will drive at 80, 70, 90 and whatever. It always is set at 60. So anyone stopping you or anyone recording your speedometer, it shows only 60. These are the challenges what are involved in quantifying the governance. Still, professionals like us have been working very closely with the reporting agencies, and we have devised a lot of methodologies to understand what should be the reporting framework of this ESG, what should be the rating parameters for the ESG, and many of our friends are from listed companies. Some of you have group companies listed. So we know this BRSR became a big challenge. CFOs, the entire finance, accounts, taxation, treasury department, everyone's efforts are going towards preparing this integrated report of BRSR and annual report. This has become a big challenge. It may continue to be a challenge for a couple of years until we get well versed with all of the factors of this ESG reporting. For us, the requirement is also quite big as a country. To meet our NDCs by 2070, we have to become net zero country. So we are, as of now, way behind the target. So if you ask me precisely what's the number, it could be 10-15%. We are way behind that much way behind. But we are catching up. As we said, all new projects are going up on ESG theme only. What are the reporting frameworks? Presently, we are using only 2 frameworks in India. All of you must be knowing. One is GRI, the other one is TCFD, Task Force on Finance-related Climate Disclosures, climate-related financial disclosures. These are the 2 reporting frameworks which are mandatorily used. Why are mandatorily used? Because your BRSR requires that, because the index is structured considering these 2 to give you a rating and to include your entity into the index of ESG. Therefore, these are almost regulatorily applicable. Rest are voluntarily applied and adopted. But everyone is now, what are your finance teams doing? In a month, they are spending 2 hours on ESG concepts. As good as we learnt AP GST in 2005, then 2017 GST, and all of these things. We were forced to learn. Today, most of our executives are forced to attend some orientation sessions on ESG, because that should become part of your blood, part of your entries, part of your accounting behavior, finance behavior, everything. Equator lending, equator principle-based lending is one important thing which all of us knew and requires a bit of stress. Structured on the lines of environmental and social diligence of IFC framework, applied in almost 40 countries now, and the number is increasing day by day. Applicable for internationally 70% of all international cross-border projects. Speaking about the compliance of ESG, this framework is listing out the parameters applicable to assess whether your project is ESG friendly or not. If it is ESG friendly, ESG compliant, then you are entitled for a benign coupon debt. Then you are entitled for a benign hurdle rate equity. If you are not, you are on a penal coupon, you are on an increased hurdle rate requirement. So the business math, the viability math undergoes tremendous change if you are ESG compliant versus if you are not ESG compliant. That is captured in equator principle-based lending. We are loosely calling equator lending, but it is equator principle lending. Who are the investors? Who are so crazy? Yesterday I participated in our World Bank ABCDE event, and our brother, Mr. Ajay Banga, he spoke and he smashed the records there. The best of the speakers are there. He may not be so eloquent, so polished, with high level of accent, but the content what he used was so nice. And he questioned one important thing to all the bankers, the principal bankers present there, central bankers. He said, every report states ESG project is more viable, more remunerative than other projects. Then why is not private sector investing? What do you think is the reason? They had no answer. He only answered to his rhetoric question. It's you. The regulatory framework is complex. It is confusing. It is threatening. It is dispelling. If only regulatory framework is good, is conducive, why will not private come and invest into these ESG compliance projects? And question well posed, well answered, well taken by the whole of the world. And some of our members have also appreciated in the reports about the summary of our World Bank Group President, Ajay Banga, who gave the speech. That gives us one hint that private sector is willing to infuse equity, to advance loans, provided they have the assurance that they have these returns expectable, not guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed, but expectable. That's a framework which is required versus ambiguity, complex, vulnerability, then bureaucratic delays, etc. Still, these are the investors who have been infusing. BlackRock, as you all know, is in a way, mother company sort of thing for Blackstone. What is Blackstone? India's largest real estate owning company. So our friends, many of our friends know. This is the size what we're talking. Interestingly, all of them are present in India. And even interestingly, majority of them are present very much in Hyderabad also. Legim is present in Hyderabad. Invesco has a full presence in Hyderabad. JP Morgan Chase, JP Morgan, of course, its arm is also present in India. Amundi is present, Fidelity is present, Allianz is present, UBS present, NGPF is present. State Street has full-fledged office here. Vanguard present in our mutual funds investments. BlackRock also is very much present. All of them are present. Maybe Amundi is less present because it's operating through one of its associates, not directly. Rest all are present in India. Rest all are present in Hyderabad also as well. So now, who are rating this ESG? Okay, you are ESG compliant is your claim. I am claiming I am ESG compliant. But who is judging? How much of ESG compliance you have? Are you ESG compliant and what extent? These are the rating agencies. Morgan Stanley Composite Index, all of us know. We've been interacting with them. We participate in that Mumbai event also from India, and then we explained what are the pitfalls that are stopping India to get the re-rating done, in spite of we growing over the past 15 years and still rated only at BBB. Of course, the outlook is revised recently, but still we are BBB for a long time, BBB minus for a long time. Regardless of your company's strength, financial strength and credentials, you cannot surpass India's rating. So there is a pull, down pull from country's rating versus your up pull of your own rating. And ISS, the shareholder services agency, which is one of the world's largest shareholder activism company, the group, it's also rating, and other names. Robeco, all of you know. How is green finance made by us as CFOs? What do we do? How is green finance lent by the lenders? How is this interface happening? So first we evaluate the projects which are viable from the ESG perspective. Then we obtain the environmental and social due diligence. Then we assign the scoring, ESG scoring, when we say ESG scoring to the projects. Then we get the funding approved by the board of the equity, by the lender for the debt and everything. And then once we obtain this part, rest is all implement, then monitor, then service, etc. But if your compliance slips the rating or the rate required, the score required, there is a penalty applicable for debt and for equity also. As I spoke, hurdle rate will be higher. These are the green bonds which are afloat in the market now, around the world, including in India. So many of you are exploring the revenue bonds, which are commonly known, and a couple of Hyderabad companies also have moved and are in the process of getting them. This is the first kind and widely prevalent kind because it is supported by the income stream, cash flows tied up debt. So our other speaker will explain more about it. Cash flow tied up debt is easy to mobilize. That's the first one. Second one is very typical, very difficult because it speaks about your credit profile, CPL loans. Credit profile loans are, I don't give any security. I want a loan of how much? 10 billion. $10 billion, no security, how? Look at my balance sheet. It's credit profile loan. Those are also afloat, not as much as revenue bonds. Of course, for AAA rated, AA, double plus rated, etc. companies. And there are few in India which also deserve this use of proceeds bonds. Securitized bond is securitizing the ESG projects, the cash flows of ESG projects. Sounds similar to revenue bond, but there is a cherry picking in securitized bond, which means the margin in securitized bond, what you are not able to securitize and unlock, is higher, significant than the first case. In the first case, it's 100% availability. In the third case, it's part of availability because the Securitization tells you that this part is cherry-picked, the balance is not acceptable, therefore retained as a cushion. Then green project bond for all green projects, specifically projects, ESG projects, for them only, project-specific bond. Typical statistical thing showing that. What's the funding theme and chain? One simple word. Funds flow to the borrowing company, ESG funds. Why are you so keen on ESG funds? They come at a lower coupon, benign coupon. So you are keen to mobilize lower coupon funds. And some of the lenders today, they are not keen to lend you at all, regardless of whatever coupon you are accepting, because you are not ESG compliant. Every bank today is trying to reduce its personal loan book size because they're already overlent. And every bank today is keen to increase its CASA, current account and saving account balances, because they are down on that. Some of the banks have got as low as 28, 29 versus 50, which used to be, including SBI, which used to have 45 to 50, is now on 41, which means their cost of borrowing is increasing and their loan rates aren't so easily increasable. They're stifled with this NIMs shrinking day by day. And what do? They have to rebalance their accounts. So as you are short lent on PSL, private sector lendings, you buy loan accounts from outside. As you are overlent on personal accounts, you securitize and get rid of them to whoever has got the appetite to acquire these personal loan accounts. So this exercise is happening everywhere in the world. Every bank, every lender, every equity investor is looking towards a company which is ESG compliant. It could be hospitals like Medicover, it could be any other infra company, it could be My Home Infra Mega, you name a company. Every company is now conscious about, is this new project adding to our ESG component, ESG portfolio. And if some of you are from real estate also, every new building is tried to be branded as green, either certified or silver, gold, and the best possible platinum. And they don't mind paying around 11% higher lease rent if it is green compliant, of course up to platinum. 11% premium. Imagine what's your profit in real estate company? 7%, 8%, not more than 10% if you're an organized player. And your lease rentals can get you 11% premium. That's the premium what we're talking about if you are ESG compliant. As of now, it's premium. Going forward, either you are or no. That's it. So the chain speaks that you get the funds and you have to ensure not only you are ESG compliant, your vendors ESG compliant, your process ESG compliant, and your vendors process also ESG compliant. That's the chain what it speaks about and requires from you. Okay. The ESG funding to MSME, I'll skip that. What's our role? That's a theme. ESG and CFO. We are wedded now. You have to understand how much of our projects are ESG compliant, if they are. Possible they are not. If they are not, within them what can we upgrade, upcycle, and claim that we are getting towards ESG compliant? What process of ours can embrace ESG factors? At what lower cost can we do that? So this is broadly our theme. And assuming we have few ESG assets, how do we present them? How do we mobilize the benign cost funds? How do you join the bandwagon? For example, Federal Bank is one of the examples what we can discuss very frequently. Of course, HDFC, because it has funding from IFC and it is enjoying a subvention of 3 to 4%. If you are passing the test of ESDD and you are ESG compliant, you can enjoy lower coupons starting from 0.5 up to 4%, depending upon the project nature and other things. So 4% is huge. What are we talking? 2.5% is US GDP rate, we are talking 4%. So 1.5 times the US GDP growth phenomenon is what we are talking in one simple factor. So we have to also mobilize funds for our existing ESG projects. The moment you mobilize benign coupon debt for your ESG projects, your board will request you to look at only ESG projects. So this is what we mentioned earlier. We are discussing ESG. Why is CFO required? Why do we waste his time? Let him work. He's paid high. His time is precious. Let us not waste. Today, where is CFO? Hey, call CFO. We'll start then. This has become the phenomenon. So we always discuss the jokes. Many of our friends knew a company which takes advisors only from CFO on critical matters and a company which never takes advices from CFO on critical matters, both are same. They go down. They go down the hill like a motor which doesn't need any engine. It can go down into the dust. Fine. So these are the metrics. Of course, many of us know the green asset ratio. Now companies in their BRSR reporting, integrated reporting, they started giving of our 100%. We are 27% ESG, moving towards 40 target, etc. Like India does, like India is doing. Then the ESG score is another thing. Then, of course, the green returns. You are separating and showing what are your green returns, what are your other returns. And wherever we have to borrow, we have to understand what is the lender's requirement. Like we do our traditional borrowing, first we understand what is their mood, what is their appetite, which sector they are active in, then we move our proposal. Same is the case with equator lending principles as well. Now, I will not discuss much on the structure of ESG. This is known to you. And what I will just quickly like to show you is, this is the only slide, this is the last slide. So what this explains us is, the major index, Nifty 50, the next important index is Nifty 100 versus NSE ESG, NSE 100 ESG. These two are moving exactly in same tandem, which means it is established by research statistics also that the returns in ESG project are, to start with, not lower than traditional project. In cases where you are working on total cost of ownership basis, or if you can adjust your return expected horizon from, let us say, 2 years to 5 years, 5 years to 10 years and beyond as it requires, both are equally remunerative in terms of IRR. At the end of the day, it's IRR what you require over a period of 2 years or 20 years. So long as your hurdle rate is passed and your IRR is comfortable, regardless of time horizons, you're okay to invest into ESG also. This one chart explains that ESG projects could be as compliant as any other projects, as remunerative as any other projects. If you ask me, how is NSE 100 ESG plus? That is not with this. That's with a higher score, which hints us that if we are commercially extremely particular, we have to be cautious in our pace of embracing ESG because sudden shocks will make the company become financially stressed. That's it. Thank you so much, and we meet.